Every December, in the middle of winter, we bring a tree into our homes. We decorate it with lights. We place a star on top. And without quite knowing why, we try to fill the darkest season of the year with brightness. Perhaps we are remembering something ancient, something about hope, something about light being born inside darkness, something about how even the smallest light can change the way we see the world. This is a story about that remembering, a story about 3 trees, a child, and the quiet psychology of giving. Have you ever felt like you had nothing to give? This story is for you. Long ago, on a silent night when the world seemed to pause, a child was born in a small cave. The sky opened, the stars grew brighter, and all of creation became still. A single bright star appeared in the heavens, guiding 3 wise men from the east to the place where the child lay. A child who would grow into a symbol of compassion, healing, and transformation. They arrived with precious gifts. Soon after them came the shepherds, offering what little they had. All of them bowed before the newborn child. And above the cave, 3 trees were growing side by side, a cedar, a pine, and a small, humble fir tree. Each tree felt the meaning of the moment and wanted to offer something. The cedar shook its branches. Fragrant needles fell to the ground, filling the air with a calming, sacred scent. In psychological terms, the cedar represents strength, dignity, and the part of us that wants to be impressive, worthy, and respected. It gives what it has: presence, power, and beauty. Then the pine shook its branches. Strong cones fell to the ground, enough to make a fire, enough to bring warmth to the child and his mother. The pine represents care, protection, and the practical side of love, the part of us that wants to help, to fix, to provide, and to keep others safe. But the little fir tree stood still. She had no fragrance, she had no fuel, she had nothing that seemed useful or valuable. She had only an open heart and a deep desire to give. And so, the little fir tree began to cry, not from envy, not from self-pity, but from the pain of feeling that she was not enough, that she did not belong in this sacred moment because she had nothing to offer. The little fir tree represents that tender place inside us, the part that feels small, quiet, and invisible, the part that longs to matter. High above, the bright star saw her tears, and the star was moved, not by strength, not by usefulness, not by beauty, but by sincerity, by vulnerability, by an open heart. So the star sent a small piece of its own light down from the sky. A tiny star descended and rested on the very top of the little fir tree. And suddenly, the fir tree began to glow, not with power, not with productivity, not with perfection, but with light. A soft, gentle light that illuminated the cave, the child, and the world around her. The little fir tree bowed, and with great care she placed the star before the cave, so that everyone could see where the light of compassion had been born. And from that moment on, she was no longer the tree with nothing to give. She became the tree of light. And ever since then, we decorate fir trees with stars and lights. Not to make them beautiful, but to remember something very important: that our worth does not come from what we produce, fix, or achieve. Our worth comes from our capacity to be present, to be sincere, to be open, to care, even when we feel empty, even when we feel small, even when we feel like we have nothing to offer. Sometimes that is exactly the place where light can enter. And when it does, it doesn't just change us. It gently changes the world through us.